Conversations with Nicole. Let's talk about it. Tell me all about it. I'm here. I wanna know what's on your mind. Ooh, the world needs to hear from you, and I'm so glad to have a conversation to reach the nation. And it's all about you. We'll help each other to discover innovative ways to positively change the world. Let's talk about, let's talk about, yeah. Let's talk about conversations with Nicole.
Greetings. Welcome to Conversations with Nicole. I am Nicole Everett, your host. And Conversations with Nicole is a talk show based in Tallahassee, Florida, focused on connecting the community through conversations. And today is what I call Mindset Monday, which is an opportunity for you, me, and my guests to chat about something interesting. And April is Fair Housing Month. So we are gearing up for Fair Housing Month. My two very special guests are part of a fair housing town hall that is going to be taking place here in Tallahassee. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a little bit. My special guests are Dr. Wallisa Cobb and Mr. Dante Bonner. And they are housing professionals that have a lot to say about the state of fair housing. So that is our topic tonight. But before I bring them on, I want to hear from you. Where are you tuning in from? We are live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on LinkedIn. And this is an interactive live. So your comments, your questions are very much so welcome. So if you will, put your city and state in the comments, tag a friend, and let them know they need to be on here because this is going to be an interesting conversation. All right. I see Miss Brittany is already here. Thank you for joining us in Tallahassee. And my mom down in Miami, thank you for being here, Ma. I appreciate you so much. All right. I know others will be joining us, but I'm going to go ahead and share Miss Dr. Wallisa Cobb's bio. She began her career in the affordable housing industry in 1999, where she was administrator of the first-time home buyer programs at Florida Housing Finance Corporation. She was responsible for overseeing the daily operations of the statewide program. Today, she is a broker and owner of Cobb Realty and Investment Company, a boutique real estate brokerage established in 2007. She specializes in assisting first-time homebuyers and veterans. She holds a bachelor's degree in business economics and a master's degree in public management from the Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. Go Rattlers! She recently earned her doctorate of business administration degree from California Intercontinental University. Devoted to her community, she served on the United Way Income Council, was the treasurer of the Frenchtown Neighborhood Improvement Association, and chaired the Leon County Affordable Housing Advisory Committee. She is a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And a few of her accomplishments include 2021 to 2023 National Association of Real Estate Brokers Top Producer, 2019 Tallahassee Women Magazine Women Who Mean Business Award winner, 2018 Big Bend Community Development United Housing Partnership Empowering Community Civil Rights Award recipient, 2018 Tallahassee Democrat Volunteer of the Year nominee, 2018 Tallahassee Democrat Top 25 Women to Know, and 2017 to 2023 Top 5% of Producing Realtors. Y'all help me welcome Miss Dr. Wallisa Cobb. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks, Tom.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for being here. So, Dr. Cobb, tell the people, who is Dr. Wallisa Cobb? Not what you do, but who are you?
Okay. If I had to describe myself just from the bio that you just did, if I had to describe myself, I would say that I'm a community servant. I'm that little brown girl that grew up in Frenchtown, lived from Frenchtown to the south side of Tallahassee, got pregnant at 16 years of age, but was still able to achieve some level of success because one, I had God in my life and I had a village. And hopefully, if we talk about anything today related to fair housing, um, equity as it pertains to income and those things that just make life fair for people, I want people to remember that it does require a village, and your village is not just your family. It's everyone in the community coming together to make sure that everyone wins.
Nice. All right. Very good. Thank you for sharing that. All right. So our next guest is no stranger to conversations with Nicole. He's been on several times, and we typically have him on this time of year for Fair Housing Month. Mr. Darren Dante Bonner, who is also a graduate of the Florida Agriculture and Mechanical University. Go Rattlers. He's from the prestigious School of Business and Industry, SBI, with a BS degree in Business Administration. He has over 24 years of experience in the field of civil rights and employment law, has served the Florida Commission on Human Relations in various capacities during his 25-year career. Customer service representative, mediator, investigator, and customer service intake manager. Currently serves as the educational outreach training coordinator for the agency. He is responsible for providing educational outreach for the citizens and organizations of the state of Florida, as well as facilitates external and internal trainings. He has worked with local, state, national, and international organizations in conferences, workshops, and events to increase the awareness of civil rights and the audience's responsibilities in their actions. He also holds credentials from the prestigious Lean Six Sigma Green Belt certification. He is committed to ensuring that all citizens and employees receive the highest level of knowledge and information to be effective and impactful within their community. And his philosophy is that all people, regardless of gender, ethnicity, age, or belief system, should have the right to live peacefully amongst all individuals and to enjoy life to the utmost without being subjected to discrimination. Y'all help me welcome Mr. Dante Bonner.
Hey, family, how are you?
Doing
Good to
well,
be
doing well. Yeah, good to have you. Good to have you. So, Dante, for the people that may have not seen you on here before, you got to tell them who is Dante Bonner, not what you do, but who are you?
well. First of all, I am a proud rattler. That's who I am. I bleed the orange and green, but I am a bridge builder. I was raised in the military. Grew up, my father serving in the U.S. Army, so I've had the opportunity to live overseas and across the country, from Alaska to Florida and all points in between. So, being a bridge builder, being able to connect information from one side to the other, that's my, as Nicole would say, my superpower. Being able to connect with individuals to be able to give information and resources that for those that need it. And that's where I get the greatest joy, to be able to see those that did not know something, to add value to them to be able to accomplish their goals and their dreams.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Thank you so much, Dante. So, before we dive into this topic, can either one of you talk about the event that's coming up on April 9th?
Well, I can do that.
Thank you.
Uh, well, first of all, this is an ongoing collaborative effort with the fair housing organizations across the Big Bend area. I would be remiss of our person that kept us together was Dr. Patricia McGill of the CCEDU, who founded the vision to be able to incorporate areas from the federal, state, local areas in fair housing, from realtors, from state government, to any person that has anything to do with housing, to come together and to facilitate a conversation, to facilitate resources to be able to share. And this is just a continuation of that. So on April 9th, which is on a Wednesday, from 8:30 a.m. to 2 p.m., we're having what we call the Big Bend Town Hall. Now, for those that have been with us for the last several years, you may have heard it being called a symposium or a conference. But this year we're doing something a little bit different. We're calling it a town hall because we want to hear from you, the community. We're talking about building bridges. We're talking about sharing information. And the theme of our particular conference is the basics, is fair housing, the basics, the challenges, and the opportunities that persons face within fair housing. This is going to take place at the Delta Kappa Omega Providence Community Center. Address is 1908 Highland Street in the beautiful city of Tallahassee, Florida. So we're going to have a conversation with different panel discussions about what are some of the opportunities, what are some of the challenges, what are some of the basics that everyone needs to know. And here's something about fair housing. If you live in a house, if you live in a tent, if you live in Ox Bottom, if you live on the South Side, if you live in uh, Wakulla County, you live in Gadsden County, this is for you. If you live someplace, persons can be discriminated against. Persons can be challenged in appraisal bias. Persons can be challenged in landlord-tenant issues. We're going to talk about all of it. And guess what? You need to know who the proper people are because oftentimes, how many of you all have called someone and you've been on hold for 10 minutes and come to find out that is not the right person to talk to? So this town hall is going to give you the resources needed to first-time home ownership and also hearing from some of the real estate persons to avoid the pits and the traps to be able to be successful in owning a home or to prepare you to own a home because some people may not be ready for it right now, but you still need the tools. Come out and be a part of this conversation. We're partnering with the city of Tallahassee. We're partnering with Leon County, Habitat for Humanity, Dr. Wallisa Cobb and her organization, Gadsden County, and so many other different uh, communities are going to be joining forces to have this conversation. And we will be doing it virtual as well. And so be looking out for that information. But April 9th, 8:30 a.m., we're going to have a town hall because we got to hear from you. If you want to see that change, you got to come and you got to voice what that change needs to be. So we, as those providers, can implement those particular things. As Dr. Wallisa Cobb said, it takes a village to do fair housing. And so we need your voice to add to the conversation.
All right, very good. Thank you so much, Dante. So I want to acknowledge a few more folks that have joined us. Kesey, who's here in Tallahassee. Happy belated birthday, Kesey. Thank you for joining us. Ozzy, who's a clinician in Virginia Beach. Thank you for being here, Ozzy. Tracy Gole in Tallahassee. Thank you, Tracy. Emmanuel, he said, I'm here for the Christmas birthday guy. All right. Thank you, E. He always got some jokes. Marcus Boston. Yes. Tell him, Marcus, like and subscribe. Conversations with Nicole on YouTube. So he's down in Tampa. Thank you for being here. Janetta, who's here in Tallahassee. Miss Karen Miller with the Tallahassee Lenders Consortium, who is also part of the town hall planning
How can I
team.
forget Karen? Lord,
Yeah.
that's my
Yes, good evening, team. Excited about you all being on tonight. Thank you so much. And Miss Sharice Du Bois, who's in Atlanta, GA. Thank you for joining us. Happy Monday. All right. So this topic, the state of fair housing. I think there's probably a great amount of concern about just housing, period. In our current climate that we're in. So let's start off with the Fair Housing Act, Dante, and I know that's your wheelhouse. So just give us the quick and dirty in terms of the Fair Housing Act, what it is, who it serves, and who those kind of protected classes are.
Well, first of all, again, April is National Fair Housing Month, and that's when we really give attention to what the Fair Housing Act actually is. The technical term is Title VII of the Fair Housing Act of 1968, which was established April 11th of 1968, which happens to be 7 days after the assassination of Dr. King. And in that bill, it establishes the rights of individuals to be protected from being able to purchase, have any type of fair housing transaction, or to have an accommodation based upon your protected class. When we say protected class, we're talking about who you are as an individual. And within the federal guidelines, there are 7 protected classes if you fall within. That's race, color, religion, national origin, sex or gender, disability, and familial status. And if I'm not mistaken, I think everybody on the planet covers one or more of those particular bases. So
Mhm.
what that is saying is you cannot be treated differently because of those particular reasons alone. And that law is put in place because as you are engaging in fair housing transaction, you have to be able to make sure that you're being treated fairly and not for any of this particular reason.
Okay, very good. Well, there it is. So, um, that is what fair housing covers. Those are the protected classes. And so let's kind of, dive into the state of fair housing. I mean, we were all kind of talking uh, before jumping on the live about what's going on with housing and urban development and what fair housing will look like in the future, and maybe we can circle back around to that. But Dr. Cobb, if you will, kind of share some of what you are seeing as a longtime real estate professional. What how does fair housing show up in the work that you do?
Um, One of the biggest ways that it shows up is in appraisal bias. I think you mentioned appraisal bias earlier, and a lot of times I've found myself as a professional, as a real estate professional, and some of my colleagues having to fight for appraised values in certain parts of town.
Mhm.
And so that is still a thing. We hear about it nationwide, but we do have that issue here. I've had builders that built homes on the south side of town and had to fight for values. And one of the biggest things that we need to do as a real estate community is if you see something, say something. Don't lay down on a value, because once we have that one low value, it's a trickle down effect of all of the values in our community.
Mhm.
I'm super excited about the fact that we have veteran support services representative that will be participating this year, because as you said, I specialize in helping veterans. I'm a military relocation specialist. And as a real estate professional, I see a lot of my colleagues that don't specialize in assisting veterans, haven't really taken the time to get to know the ins and outs of serving veterans. A lot of them have service animals. Some of them have mental challenges, different communication style, but they all deserve a place to stay. And so one of the biggest things as a realtor that specializes in, I don't do property management, but I focus on sales. A lot of properties aren't listed with VA as being eligible because there's this negative connotation that the requirements are too restrictive. But at the end of the day, the Veterans Administration just want to make sure their veterans are protected and safe sanitary housing. So they do have extra requirements, but the onus is on us as realtors to actually get in there, learn the requirements, and not be afraid or intimidated by that process.
Okay, nice. So you said quite a bit, but I want to go back to the appraisal piece, right? Um, when you said fighting for fair appraisals, what would that kind of look like from a maybe a layperson standpoint?
Mhm. So I think Dante said this about making sure you know the right people, right? So, and whether you're selling your home or you're buying a home, you need to make sure that you're connected with a professional that's knowledgeable, because sometimes people will lay down and just not dispute an appraisal, but numbers don't lie. If people do the research and for example, on times that I had to fight for appraisals. Now, appraisers, and I said this last year, appraisers don't like to be wrong, but I'm seeing it now more that they will make the adjustments if you put the facts in their face. So again, numbers don't lie. If I come with 3 additional comps that they didn't use, and I say this is the reason that these are better comps than what you use, I expect them as a professional to go back, reevaluate, and reassess the values.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think also to piggyback, it's understanding the value of what you have. We talked about the particular classes, and particularly when you're talking about appraisals, it's knowing the value of what you have and being willing to fight for it.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to say to open your mouth and say, "Hey, no, this is not right." And you say, "Well, what's the difference as far as the value is concerned?" As everybody know, affordability is going through the roof. And if you want to be able to make a bigger purchase or something else along those particular lines, you need to get the actual value of what your house is worth. And when
Mm.
you're being appraised at $300,000, but it should be 450. But let's make this break it real down. If your house is valued at $50,000, but it's actually should be $120,000 because the stigma of where you are living based upon historical discriminatory backlash, that makes a huge difference as far as where you can live, as far as the access if you're trying to pay for things, paying debts off, trying to go to school, or trying to take care of those particular things. $50,000 and $120,000 is a wide range based upon where you live. So having someone such as Dr. Cobb and other individuals to say, no, this must stop based upon your protected class is not going to happen. So you have to be willing to have that fight because it's not going to be given to you. And too many times people just want to throw their hands in the air, but you have to be a part of the process for it to be successful. As Dr. Cobb said, you see something, you got to say something, and you got to be willing to fight. And no, it may be tiresome, but no, there is going to be a victory in the end because facts over feelings is going to work out in your favor.
Nice. All right. So we have a few more folks that have joined us. I definitely want to acknowledge them. Quasi, who is in Atlanta. Thank you for being here. Karen said, "Great job, Dante. Love your energy." All right. We got Mr. Michael Cork on. Dr. Cobb, he's giving you a shout out. Thank you for being here, Cork. Karen said, "Yes, I love your involvement with helping veterans." Cork said, "Wow, Dr. Cobb has been working with veterans to get housing for a while. Keep up the great work." And E said, "Yes, this is the information HGTV won't talk about." Absolutely. You get it right here on Conversations with Nicole, E. This is what we do. All right. So I want to stick on appraisals before we go to veterans. One of the things that Dr. Cobb, you mentioned when we were talking prior to was around um, when you're getting your home appraised, maybe you need to change some of the aesthetics on the inside, some of the the visuals on the inside of your home. So can you speak to that for a little bit?
Yeah, so I pray for the day that I don't have to do a listing appointment with a minority and say, take down your Black art or take down any cultural things that you have in your home for fear of exactly what we're talking about, either appraisal bias or those people that may not want to purchase the home from a minority. But the truth of the matter is, it's still an obstacle. So I have to be very candid and very honest with my clients. It's an uncomfortable conversation. It's not one that I want to continue to have, but it does happen. So just in standard listing, we go through the home, and of course, personal things are taken down because photos go all over the world, but you should be allowed to keep up your cultural art or anything related to your race because that's who you are. But in today's market, I just, it's still their decision whether or not they take it down. Generally, they do after I explain why. But again, I pray for the day that I don't have to have that conversation.
Okay. All right. So I again just kind of wanted to bring that to the forefront because that may be a reason why your home is not being valued comparable to other homes within the area. So again, something else to look out for that you may not have even thought about, you know, as non-professionals in this genre, if you will. So again, as you both have said, it's good to know people who know what to look out for and who are doing this work on a daily basis. So let's talk about the veterans piece. What you mentioned having service animals, but what are some of the other things that you are seeing or witnessing with veterans, Dr. Cobb?
Um, so in servicing veterans, I'll say the biggest challenge is the fact that realtors that don't understand the VA loan requirements,
Mhm.
they'll just put other loan types as eligible for a property when it really will go VA, but they just don't understand it, or they don't want to deal with the hassle of. So, for example, for VA, they require that you have what's called a clear WDO. That's a wood destroying organism.
Mhm.
Can't have any wood rot, any termites, or anything like that.
Mm.
Well, who really wants to buy a house with wood rot and termites, right?
Right.
So. Um, for again, I feel like it's a lack of knowledge about that loan process. People will just put Agents will just put conventional. That's the easiest type of loan, but we all know that most minorities qualify for an FHA loan,
Mhm.
VA loan, USDA loan, those government-backed loans. So um, they close the buy-in pool when they take that off the table as being an ineligible loan type for veterans.
Mhm. So, if you don't mind, just kind of speak a little bit to the significance of the government-backed loans, because maybe some of the viewers might not understand like
Yep.
what some of the benefits are for that.
Yep. So the VA loan, I'll just start with that one because we were talking about veterans, but it's no money down. So a lot of times my veterans are able to negotiate closing costs to be paid by the seller. So they essentially walk into a home with very little money down. Um, with the USDA loan, that's also the same. That's 100% financing. That's for people that purchase in rural areas.
Mhm.
Um, and again, closing costs can be either wrapped in or negotiated in those instances. And then the FHA loan, that is backed by HUD, and that requires a lower down payment than other loans, is 3.5% down.
Mhm.
And with all of those programs, we have um, down payment and closing cost assistance that's available for first-time home buyers. And I will say this, I am a native of Tallahassee. As you said, I've worked in affordable housing for a number of years. I absolutely love how our government is willing to be innovative and create programs. Some of those programs that are administered by TLC, the Florida Housing Programs, they've created Hometown Heroes and different programs. We now have the Community Land Trust, which helps with affordability in this area. So though we have some challenges, we have a lot of challenges when it comes to affordable housing. I am very proud of our community for being able and willing to collaborate. Where we fall short, I think, is in the private sector with creating that, being willing to create that affordable housing.
Mhm.
And Nicole, when Dr. Cobb says affordable housing, we need to be very clear. Affordable housing is not the project.
Mhm.
Affordable housing is basically if you are a school teacher, if you are a firefighter, if you are a state employee, the affordability of whatever you are salary, if you are single or if you're married, or if you're single with the family, the affordability of based upon your salary. These programs are in place to help you to support housing. So oftentimes we have these buzzwords of affordable housing. Oh, that's just talking about for those that are low income. No, that's not low income.
Mm-mm.
Affordable housing. We have to change the narrative, and that's where a lot of the times where appraisal bias and the discriminatory aspect comes into play is because we're misapplying the word.
Mhm.
Affordable housing is based upon, can you afford a $300,000 house making a state employee salary? Can you afford a $250,000 house working in social services? That's what we're talking about when we're talking about affordability. We're not talking about necessarily someone who is in quote unquote a lower income. And that's something for them to work up to as well. There is no shame in it, but affordability is across the board. So that's the one thing we definitely want to dispel this myth and this misnomer that we're talking about someone who is low income. Affordability is not low income. Affordability is exactly where you are. Can you afford to purchase a home in the area, and particularly the Big Bend area, to be able to get the home that you and your family desire?
Oh,
You just made a good point. If I could just add to that, affordability is exactly that, what you can afford. And if you all have ever seen the Alex report, that's the Asset Limited Income Constrained Employed report that's put out every year by the United Way, it says that half of our community lives below the poverty level.
mhm.
So we have to create these programs for these working people, people that work every day full time to
Mm,
be able to afford a decent place to live.
absolutely. Absolutely. So, for those of you, because we are a little beyond halfway, the halfway point of this conversation, for those of you who are just tuning in, I am on with Dr. Wallisa Cobb, Mr. Dante Bonner. We're talking about the state of fair housing, gearing up for a fair housing town hall that will be taking place on Wednesday, April 9th at 8:30 a.m. at the Delta Kappa Omega Foundation Community Center, which is located at 1908 Highland Street in the Providence community. I am also on that planning committee and will be serving as moderator for some portion of the day. But the entire community is invited to come out again from 8:30 to I think around 2. There'll be lunch provided. There'll be a registration link. We'll get that information out to you in the days to come. And actually, Dr. Cobb talked about several programs that are available both locally and statewide. And Karen Miller, who is on this live, and she's got the comments going. Go team, tell the story. Thank you, Dr. Cobb. I'm so proud. Also, I love having professionals like you. She will be on Wednesday on here at 8:30 talking about the programs, fair housing, and the housing opportunities that are available here in Tallahassee and in the Big Bend. So again, definitely want to invite the community to come out to that fair housing town hall. I know fair housing may not be the hot and sexy topic, but it is an important topic and one that we definitely need to keep on the forefront of our minds, because I think oftentimes there may be a fair housing issue, but we may just kind of blow it off as this person is just being a jerk. All right. I mean, it may be being a jerk, but it may also be a discriminatory situation. So you definitely want to be aware of that. So we have a few more folks that are commenting. Marcus, he said, I regret not going into the military. I get that, yes, because there are some definite benefits to that. We got Dr. Sherry Sutton Johnson, who has been on the show. She said, good evening, much needed topic of discussion. Thank you for being here, Dr. Sherry. All right. And EM, this is good. Thank you all. And I think I saw Donda. Yes. Hello. All right, Donda. Thank you for being here. She's also here in Tallahassee. Okay. And Kiosha just joined us. Hey, Kiosha. Thank you for joining us. She is also here in Tallahassee. So I think maybe Dante, if you can, kind of tell us a little bit more about fair housing in terms of, some of the things that you are seeing, witnessing out there. I've heard you more recently, I guess, talk about the servant's animal piece, and that kind of being a fair housing issue potentially. So if you can, enlighten us on that one.
Sure. Um, Dr. Cobb really hit it on the head with the veterans in terms of with their service animal.
Hmm.
Believe it or not, I would like to ask your panelists, because this is an interactive discussion.
Okay.
Excuse me, your the guest. What do you think is the number one issue that people are complaining about with fair housing? Is it
Oh,
race? Is it color? Is it religion? National origin? Sex? Disability? Or familial status?
all
I would
right.
just like to hear from you all before I finish my comment.
Okay.
What do you think
So
is the number one? The viewers,
yeah,
viewers,
viewers, if you could in the comments, let us know, what do you believe is the number one complaint, the number one fair housing complaint that gets reported? Is it race? Is it familiar status? Is it disability? Is it color? Is it what am I missing?
national origin, religion,
Religion.
National origin, religion. What do you think it is? Let us
color,
know in the comments. Yes, let us know in the comments. Again, race, color, familiar status, um, religion,
disability,
disability,
national
or
origin.
national origin. Let us know. Let us know. Let us know. Let us know. I see a few folks chiming in. I see a few folks chiming in. All right.
It doesn't we're gonna have to ask questions.
No, no, that's good because they're not even asking no questions tonight. I don't know. They just listening. They on the edge of their seats listening. All right. So we got one disability, we got one race, we got another race. We have residential rental discrimination based on familiar status or race. Okay, that was a sneaky answer. You too E, but it's okay. I know. All right. So disability, race. All right. We got Lisa Tooks on here. Thank you for being here. She said race. All right.
All right. I know you all are on the edge of your seat. So I'm gonna go ahead and dispel the suspense. Disability is the number one basis that is filed, not just within the state of Florida, but across the country. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not just number one, it is number one by leaps and bounds.
Mm-hmm.
Approximately over 60% of complaints that are filed, not just with my agency, the Florida Commission on Human Relations, but
Mm-hmm.
also filed with HUD, also in other entities that are similar to us. Over 60% of the complaints are filed are disability.
Mm-hmm.
Number two is race, and that's around 25%. So
Okay.
I want you all to think about that. So
Mhm.
all the noise that you're hearing about some of the other protected classes, while they are important, but as far as in the world of fair housing, disability is number one, particularly about reasonable accommodations with regard to service animals and modification. What does that mean? So if you have been injured, excuse me, like the veterans, and you suffered some post-traumatic stress disorder, or you need a service animal, or you need an emotional support animal, you have a right to have that animal with you to live, to help you enjoy the full services of that particular place.
Mm-hmm.
Cannot be treated differently or discriminated. And that's what we have seen a lot of places basically out of ignorance. There's a saying that I say all the time when I'm doing my conversations and trainings. People don't know what they don't know. And when they think they know, they still don't know. And
Mm-hmm.
ignorance is not a defense. So when you encounter individuals uh, saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, you can't have that service animal here," well, while there are some level of protections in terms of you have to uh, apply to, you cannot be denied if you can show proof that there is a need for that service animal. Now, let me be very clear. When we're talking about service animals, we're talking about in the world of fair housing. I know there's been a lot of noise and news concerning retail stores such as Publix denying service and emotional support animals. Excuse me, denying emotional support animals. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about fair housing. So when we're talking about a emotional support animal or a service animal in the context of disability, when you present that to a property manager or to an owner, you have to let them know this is for my disability. Now, they have a right to say, can you support the fact that you have a disability? Not what type of disability that you have. Let's be clear.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a disability? And they can ask for a medical documentation to affirm the fact that you have a disability. Ladies and gentlemen, let me correct your mentality. That is not a HIPAA violation. That is probably one of the most misunderstood aspects. HIPAA violation has to do with entities sharing your medical information. This is not it. So a property manager does have a right to ask, support the fact that you have a disability without knowing the name of it. And once you provide that simple documentation, they have to provide that for you. If they don't, it is a fair housing violation. And
Mm,
oftentimes, particularly with our veterans, they have the medical documentation, but I just don't want animals in here. I just don't want this. So they're going to stare at it. Does not matter. The Fair Housing Law, and I got to be clear, the Florida Statute 760, which is the state equivalent of the federal law, enforces the fact that you must allow service animals. You must allow emotional support animals in the context of fair housing to be with those individuals because those animals are not considered pets. They are considered an extension of them. So imagining someone coming up to, and women, you all will appreciate this example, coming up to you, oh, I love your hair. Hey, get away from me.
mm,
Somebody has a service animal. That is the same thing. You are essentially doing the same thing as trying to touch someone that's coming into your personal space.
mm.
Those are the type of complaints that we see a lot with disability. And again, race discrimination is real. Let's not get it twisted, but it's not to the same level as disability. So
Mhm.
that's what something I want to drop a little nugget for you all to think about.
Okay, no, that was a good one because that one I think surprises me every time I hear you say it. Just I would not imagine it's disability, but yeah, and race being number two. Okay, so what are some ways that we can I guess report? How can we, if we think we've been experienced housing discrimination? Or treated unfairly with regards to housing, what are some things that we can do?
Well, one of the first things you can do, or our agency, we do have a website.
Mm-hmm.
It's www.fchr, which is the acronym for the Florida Commission on Human Relations. To go on our website and fill out what we call a technical assistance questionnaire form. And it's a form that's going to basically ask you some questions. So who, what, when, where, how, why. Who
Mm,
did it? Why do you think it happened? And then you submit it to our agency, and we have what's called intake specialists that take the information and they do an assessment. They will contact with you and talk with you to make sure are the allegations that you are alleging based upon what you're perceiving to be the protected class. If
okay.
you're they just don't like you, that may not cover it. Oftentimes people psych themselves out, oh, they're not going to do nothing, or you don't know. My mom used to tell me all the time, don't try to be your own doctor, go to the hospital. So if
Mm,
you're feeling like you have been discriminated against, you need to go talk to someone, whether it's HUD, but for my case, from the state version, the Florida Commission on Human Relations, and you let us tell you whether or not it's something we can take in. That's
mm,
the first part. After it's taken in, then our qualified investigators are going to do the due diligence. And
mm,
one of the things that we highlight as an investigation is facts over feeling. You're going
mm,
to look through the lens of they treated me wrong, they treated me unfairly, and you may be exactly right. But the purpose of the investigation is to determine were you discriminated against or were you treated differently or unfairly because of who you are, because of your disability, because
mm,
of your gender. And if that's not the reason for it, then no matter how bad that property manager is, no matter how badly run it is, it would not be to the level of discrimination based upon the protected class.
okay.
And that's something that people have to understand the nuance of it. But again, you don't try to oversight or overanalyze and think nothing's going to happen. Because if you want to take them to court, you have to file. You have to file with the Florida Commission on Human Relations, or you have to file with HUD, because that is the first step to be able to go to court. And
Mm,
one of the beauties about what we do is the fact of sometimes it's just a misunderstanding. And we have
mhm,
what's called a conciliation. It's coming together. Like, look,
mm,
complaint is filed. Maybe there's a misunderstanding. Maybe you just didn't understand certain things. So what can we do to resolve this? So
yeah.
it's not all about punish, punish, punish. It's
Mm,
about let's get to an understanding before we have to go to the level and understanding of an investigation. So we try to see if cases can be resolved. And I'm very happy to say that our settlements are starting to increase. Now, mind you, we are neutral. We don't benefit, we don't gain anything from it. But
mhm,
again, you have a right to know why were you treated in that particular manner. And if conciliation doesn't make it, it's not successful, a full investigation will be done. And then once that is done, you will get a copy of why were you treated in that particular manner. Now, you may not agree with it, but
Right.
just it was a due diligence in determining that it was or was not because of your protected characteristics. But the first thing you got to do is you got to file, and you got to file in writing. Don't take complaints over the phone because we want to make sure we document all of your issues that you feel like you have been harmed.
Okay, very good. So listen, we got three questions, and two of them are pertaining to these pets. So
Okay, and then after that, I want to add to what he said.
okay. Keosha said, is the process to obtain a service animal designation the same for emotional animals? Emotional
Yes,
support animals. Okay.
it is the same. As long as you have a doctor's or medical providers, and here's the key: the medical provider has to service your disability. So
Mm,
if you have PTSD, you cannot go to a podiatrist asking for certification that you have a disability. So it has
what?
to be the medical provider that is servicing your disability.
I'm sorry. Okay, wait. In the next question. Oh, I'm sorry.
And also, just having a PhD, because that's a friend of yours, you cannot sign off of it that person has a disability. It has to
Okay,
be
stop. Stop
someone
it.
that
Stop.
is overseeing your disability.
Okay. Donda said, with proper paperwork submitted, should pet deposits be waived?
Yes. That is
Okay.
a fair housing violation if they require it, if it's your emotional support or service animal. It is a fair housing violation. Full stop.
Okay, there you go. And he is laughing at you, not a podiatrist. All right. So go ahead, Wallisa. You wanted to Dr. Cobb. I'm sorry, you wanted to comment.
Yes, one of the things that Dante said about there being a misunderstanding kind of resonates with me. Um, it, he said the first step should maybe be filing the complaint, but I think maybe the first step really should be having a conversation with that person that you feel discriminated against you. Not to contradict you, Dante, but I just know, just like from experience, a lot of times, especially with homeownership, you may be sending listings of available properties to people, potential buyers, and they feel like you're steering them in a particular neighborhood or a particular area, but that's what their money can buy. So that's not discriminatory. So I think a lot of times things can be resolved, with just communicating before it elevates, to the point of being a complaint. Realtors, not people that have real estate licenses, a difference. Realtors are required to do training, both ethics and fair housing training. And a few years ago, I did the training, and the system told it's a simulation. It takes you through different scenarios, and you answer the question. You answer questions. I don't have a discriminatory bone in my body, but that system told me I had discriminated because there were families that came into a house. The scenario was I was doing an open house, and I answered. I told one family something that I didn't tell the other family, and it was not discriminatory. It's the fact that you're having organic conversations and telling people, what they may need. It just may come up in conversation. One thing may come up that doesn't come up in another conversation. That to them was discriminatory. So again, just making sure you communicate, I think, will solve a lot.
No, that's a great, great
Oh,
point.
absolutely. Good.
Hmm.
Excellent point.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we have a few more questions. E wants to know how much of a threat is this current federal administration to housing discrimination, or is there even a threat at all?
All right, so I'm going to answer it from this way. So, what's going on right now? The elephant in the room, in terms of because of the new administration, there is a uh, an adjustment in terms of how it works. So HUD is going to exist, but in the manner it's going to exist, that is based upon the desire and the of the president and the HUD secretary, which is Mr. Scott Turner. And based upon that, the law is still the same. Your housing rights are still going to be protected. What's going on right now is what is the mechanisms that is going to operate in terms of policies and procedures. But Title 8 has not changed. Chapter 760 has not changed. So regardless on how the format is going to look, if you still feel like your rights are being protected, the mechanisms are still in place to file a complaint and for an investigation to be done. So I cannot see the future as far as there's going to be a threat is concerned or not. But I do know that the laws have not changed and your rights are still protected. So despite the noise that is going on, it is still on the books. You are still protected. You still have to go through the process. And let's be clear, when we're talking about HUD, or we're talking about the Board of Commission, or we're talking about any other, that is an administrative process. You have to go through the administrative process first before you start talking about a judicial, whether you're trying to sue, whether you're trying to get some type of things. That is outside my will shop. And that's also with the town hall. There's also going to be an individual that's going to talk from the legal perspective. So that particular question, if you want to get answered, you got to come to the town hall and get that answer.
Good segue, Dante. Good segue. All right. Kiosha, if the emotional support animals damages the home, is the renter responsible for paying the repairs?
Yes, they are. Having an emotional support animal and a service animal, I like to talk it like this. They are just giving you a key to be able to open the door into the house. Once you get inside the house, you are responsible just like anybody else. If you damage something, if you break something, you have to have repair. If you have children and they're running around tearing up something, or you have no children and you're tearing up something, you fell on the floor and cracked it, you are still responsible for it. Having an emotional support animal does not absolve you from the rights of that property owner to ensure it is well maintained. So excrements, loud barking, all those type of different things. Emotional support animals and service animal only just gives you access to be allowed to live there just like everyone else. And just like everyone else, you have to abide by the rules just to make sure that nothing is damaged, or you will get that nice little feed saying, please prepare that house. And that's not being discriminatory towards you. Oh, they're only doing it because I have a dog. No, they're doing it because their floors are damaged. That's the thing. So again, like Dr. Cobb said, it's about a misunderstanding. And everything is not about the fair housing provider. They're not always in the wrong. Because guess what? People do lie. I couldn't say that as a kid.
What?
I can say that. People do lie. They tell stories. They exaggerate.
Say it ain't so.
Come to Dr. Cobb and say they can afford this much, and then then Dr. Cobb does a little more due diligence. Like, wait a minute, you can't afford this. So yes, it's on both sides. Our job is basically to inform you of your rights. But guess what? Housing providers have rights too. Let's not be twisted. Because if you don't really have a medical condition, you just want to let Fifi in because you just love Fifi, and that's not a true emotional support animal, guess what? You can't have that, or you have to pay that pet deposit. And there are people that are trying to get over on the system. So this is not against the property owners or against housing providers. No, this is why the law was set up, to make sure you understand your role, you understand your role. And oftentimes people get it twisted. And what we're trying to say, no, we're trying to untwist it so everyone knows their rights, so we can all live in harmony.
Yes, please untwist it, Dante. So Michael Cork wants to know, can the owner charge an additional deposit for an emotional support animal?
No, they cannot. Again, the emotional support animal is an extension of who they are because it is medically needed. That's like you trying to charge, you have a hair on your head. Well, because you have long hair, I'm going to charge you more hair. That is who you are. So If even if the place normally has a pet deposit, if it's for an emotional support animal or a service animal, they have the proper documentation to support the fact that is the need for that. That particular person cannot be charged extra or be charged at all because of that.
Okay, there you have it. All right. Well, we have come to the end of our conversation. So I'm going to give you both an opportunity to give some closing remarks and tell the folks how they can connect with you. And we will start with Dr. Cobb.
Okay. Great conversation. Thank you so much, Nicole, for having us. I encourage everyone to come out or send someone that you know and love to our fair housing town hall. I didn't ask for permission, Nicole, but I want to throw this out there. On April 14th, we are having a legacy planning, and you'll get my information, so reach out to me, but legacy planning virtual event to help people understand how to protect their legacy. When we don't like to have conversations about death and things like that, but what I see as a real estate professional is a lot of times in our communities, we have homes that are tied up, air property that needs to go through probate and different things like that. And we just don't have the wherewithal or have let the title get so far into a legal mess that the property will never be sold. And so in the spirit of fair housing and protecting our assets and protecting our legacy, if you're interested in additional information about that event, please reach out to me. And my information is scrolling on the screen right now. But again, thank you all. And I look forward to hopefully seeing you all at the town hall.
All right. Very good. Very good. All right, Mr. Dante, closing remarks and tell the folks how they can connect with you.
I always appreciate the conversation. And I really want to echo Dr. Cobb. If you have a loved one that owns property, you need to be a part of that. Well, I just have an apartment. Well, if your mama and your daddy and your grandmother and auntie owns property and something should happen to them, guess what? It's going to fall on you. So you need to know what needs to be done so they can make sure that there's not an extra burden on you. So I strongly encourage those to be a part of that information. Again, I can be reached with the Florida Commission Relations at my email address. It should be showing on the bottom, dante.bonner@fchr.myflorida.com. And that's a DA, not DO. Again, April 9th, 2025. 8:30 at the Providence Community Center. We need to see you or a representative. Send someone. Get down there and get this information. You can't complain that you didn't know because we're inviting you to come. Get your friends on Facebook. Gadsden County, I need to see you. Wakulla County, I need to see you. Jefferson County, I need to see you. And guess what? If you're in Georgia, Thomasville, come on down. You still need the information. It's applicable to Georgia in some cases. We want to see you here. It's about empowering you. For those that have property managers, slip them a little note. Hey, come on down so you can get some information. Because like Dr. Cobb says, sometimes it's misunderstanding. And this is a safe space to ask the question. No one's going to judge you. No, because if you don't know, you don't know. But guess what? When you get into an administrative or legal battle, then it's too late. So come on down April 9th. And last thing, I would be remiss. If you are interested or have even thinking about trying to buy a home, I recommend you contact one of our partners, the Tallahassee Lenders Consortium. They are going to help you, put you on the path. Like, you may not be ready right now, but if you save this, cut this debt, raise your credit score right here. So when it's time, you'll already be ready. Because what happens a lot of times is people complain about, oh, I'm being discriminated against. Well, no, your credit's bad. You got too many credit cards. Oh, they discriminate. You don't make enough money to support this because you don't have the knowledge. So one of our partners, Ms. Karen Miller, CEO, executive director, leads that program. If you're even thinking about it, it's been a dream of yours. Go down there and get the information. And when you come to the town hall, you're going to get even more information that's going to set you up for success. Our favorite moderator, Nicole, is going to be speaking to you all. So come out and be supportive of her. This is a family affair, and it takes a village for fair housing. And we're only just scratching the surface. So I look forward to seeing you all there. April 9th, 8:30, Providence Community Center.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dante, and thank you, Dr. Cobb. Appreciate you so much. I hope this has been beneficial to you all. I hope so. I hope so. If so, let us know in the comments. I see, let's see, Karen, more and more. Thank you all. Thank all of you for support, questions, and conversations. See you at the town hall where you can ask more questions. Absolutely. Karen, I think Karen put a number here, so I guess y'all can call Karen there if you want to. Marcus, great information. Joketra, good stuff. Thank you for being here, Joketra. Kenyatta, Dr. Rozier, thank you for being here. Shout out SVI superstar Dr. Bonner, Mr. Bonner, and greatest realtor, the realest realtor, Dr. Cobb. I love these clarifications on misunderstandings. Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. All right. Boy, the comments are coming. Lisa, great information. Thank you. Michael Court, great job, great information. Hassan Hills, my brother in Pensacola. Thank you for being here. All right, my mom, great. Donda, great. All right, good information. Thank you so much. For those of you who may be new to the platform, I invite you to subscribe to Conversations with Nicole. Subscribing and supporting on YouTube. We need you. Mondays and Wednesdays, 8:30 p.m. We are here connecting the community with mental health and wellness. This is part of wellness, financial wellness, emotional wellness, I think, as well, as we talked about fair housing. And again, everybody's invited to come to this town hall, this fair housing town hall on Wednesday, April 9th, 8:30 a.m. at the Delta Kappa Omega Foundation Community Center, 1908 Highland Street. As soon as we get the flyer out, we will definitely, or get the flyer, we'll get it out to you so you can get the registration link and be a part of it. All right. Join us Wednesday, Karen Miller, Tallahassee Lenders Consortium. She was in the comments all night. She will be on talking about fair housing and housing opportunities. So you don't want to miss that conversation. Just an extension of our Fair Housing Month preview conversation. All right. Well, y'all have a great rest of the evening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.